Welcome back to another episode of TVGP's We Roguelike It, the show we play every roguelike in history. I'm your host, Buster, and joining me as always is Moonpeer.
Howdy, I hate you.
Thank you. This is our fourth and final week with Hand of Fate 2. We have we've put our month in. Don't forget to listen next week for our scientists getting their weigh in on what Hand of Fate 2 is. Also, we forgot to talk about what game we're going to play next before we start recording this, so we'll talk about that next episode too.
Yep.
Apologies. It's been a weird week.
And the fun fact is, I brought my pad to write it down so I don't forget, and then promptly forgot why I had my pad here.
Yeah. It's sometimes both fail safes fail. That's okay. Anyways, Hand of Fate 2. We were talking briefly pre-show. We try not to talk pre-show about the game itself because why talk about the content before recording the content? But you sounded like you had a pretty rough week food-wise in Hand of Fate 2.
Yes. So I think I mentioned on the Hierophant, the Lovers, the Chariot stage. So they're the three I have unlocked at the moment with no pins on.
Okay.
I do also have the Grand Priestess with a silver pin, but that's the one that you need like 96,000 blessings by the time you get to it, so that one's the difficult one.
That one was pretty tough. Let me look what Lovers is.
It's the dude who's running away from his girlfriend who said she's going to curse him, so there's a bunch of skeletons.
He's the dude that loves potatoes, right?
Yes,
yeah.
You shove a potato in his mouth to revive him.
It's really good, yeah. And Chariot is... Oh, yeah. Chariot is a cool one where you're trying to escort everybody out of the city with that lady who, that's the lady I recruited as my third companion. That Estrella lady. She joins your party once you successfully do that whole thing.
So, yeah, that's the one that... All three of those are the ones that I have been attempting to do.
Mm-hmm.
And constantly starving to death.
Especially Chariot, because you have to explore everyone. Yeah, like you have to. So for anyone that maybe isn't playing this, Chariot is a really cool one because you're going around town, not only defeating corrupted enemies. You have two objectives: defeat corrupted enemies and save townspeople. You have to explore the entirety of each map before you move on to complete as much of both of those objectives as possible. And thankfully, the gold one is fairly easy on that, which is just save everybody in town, which is not as impossible as it seems, but food is a real problem because each one of those maps is big.
Yes, and then the worst thing is you get a lot of the missions in there where it's like, oh, these kids are all hiding, and you get them out by giving them food.
Yeah, I'm on my gold run of that, I was able to try to tempt them to come out by not giving them food, and then I was able to do a chance game to have them come with me, and I won the game, and all of them came with me without having to give them food.
I got a small success, not the huge success.
Yeah.
So I got half of them. And then in trying to explore the map to get more people or to get more food, I then ended up with no food and starving,
spending more food. Yeah. Yeah, there's a challenge card I'm trying to do right now that I think is for Estrella's, like a platinum version, where this guy says like, all right, I'm more than ready to help you as soon as you bring me 27 food. And it's just like, I'm sorry? That's not going to happen. Oh no, did I lose you? Or did you lose me? Technical difficulties. Hold on. I had too much caffeine for this.
There he is.
Hi. Welcome
Hi.
back. I'll cut all that out.
Oh, I figured.
Yeah.
Estrella's Platinum was the last thing I had.
Yeah, so her platinum, you go do a challenge for a guy that says, I need 27 food. It's like, no. How do I even do that? What?
That's
Goodness.
just when you kind of have to load up your entire inventory with cards that produce food.
Hmm.
A lot of food.
Yeah, I feel like I probably have a good number of cards that will do that. It's just like I need to get the right orientation of all that stuff going on.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a little bit difficult. And
Hmm.
like I'm a little bit annoyed because it's like, come on, like it's just a one thing that's stopping me from being
Hmm.
able to progress right now in the main campaigns. At least it's just like I keep dying, and I've tried custom building desks, and I've tried the autofill ones.
Right.
I've tried both, and neither is helping, and I hate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I had I had a lot of challenges this week. Um, I actually managed to get the gold in the Hierophant. Um, getting getting all those clues wasn't nearly as hard as I thought it would. The main trick is going into, so you know how you go for the 3 jobs with 3 people, you interrogate them, they have like those 4 or 5 questions.
Yes,
And
which is
then
a gold heavy mission, which you need a lot of gold if you answer the wrong questions.
yes, I did all the stuff on the 3 jobs correctly. Everything was going great. I get to the inn at the end where you can kind of accuse which one of the uh you can accuse one of the assassins. I knew who it was immediately because after the last couple playthroughs, I figured out only one of them will make one mistake when you're out on a job with them. So like that's when you can figure out who's the actual
They'll
person.
make they'll make a mistake as in they'll almost flub the job, or they'll make a mistake as in they will lie.
They'll lie. So like the lady you go out with, she'll say instead of she was with like the 3rd regiment, she'll say she was with the 7th. You know she's the assassin. So like it comes down to like only one clue really early on will be the assassin. Um I went into the inn at the end with 140 gold, which
Jeez.
was great because you have to spend 90 gold to get the rest of the clues because you have to uh, bribe them twice, one for 10, one for 20, and then drink with them and then ask them a question. Once you do that for everybody, that's the last of the clues that you need. So like you have to grill the master assassin every time you see him. You have to do absolutely everything, and I managed to get that pretty easily. Thankfully, because of the Goblin Town Platinum card, one of the options is I'd like to go look at that giant pile of gold, and they give you at least 4 gold pull cards. So I got like 4 gold pull cards that were all either 15 or 20. So
Hmm.
that worked out pretty nicely.
That
Um,
sounds pretty good.
yeah. I did manage to complete Hanged Man, which is probably one of my least favorite ones. It's a really cool idea, but it's really slow. So essentially, you have a very small dungeon on the left side. It's usually like one column of cards and maybe 1 or 2 cards coming off of the column. Um, and you have to get to a bunch of friendly towns and warn them that the Northerners are coming and they need to evacuate.
Hmm.
And you have to evacuate 10 villages, I think. Five or 10. The bad part though is all the way on the right hand side of the screen are 4 northerners, like the little silver tokens, or like the
Yeah.
little silver like monopoly pieces. And every time you move on the map to a new card, all 4 of them move closer to you. But the frustrating part is the card that they're on has to flip. They has to put another card down that flips, and then the token has to move. And he does that 4 times in a row. So it's like every time you're just trying to get across the map, it's do. It's like, okay, like let's move this along. I'm going to be playing this thing probably 10 more times. Let's keep this thing moving a little bit.
Yeah.
So I managed to finally complete that one. That one is really rough because it's a lot of like, you better be good at dice games. You better be good at the pendulum one. You better be lucky on the roulette, which I'm getting a little better at roulette, which is concerning. And I beat that one, which unlocked the rest of the challenges except for the final one. So I can finally do all of the rest of the ones. I still have no idea how I'm going to beat either Strength, which is the one with the ogre, where you start with 10 health and food doesn't heal you.
Sounds great.
I also don't know how I'm supposed to beat the tower. The tower's really confusing. There's a tower in the middle of the map. You need, I believe, 20 food to put into a statue in the tower to get to the next floor of the tower. The language in the game is a little bit confusing, where you have to explore the grounds around the tower to get that much food to go back to go to the next floor, which then generates another set of cards around the tower. And you kind of rinse and repeat to get 20 food each time. So, like, I scraped and scrounged for that first 20 food, and it's like, all right, do it again. I was like, I don't think I can. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do that. So it's interesting because Hand of Fate 2's campaigns are all really creative, and I really like them. But man, can you feel when you get into one of those campaigns that it's just immediately going wrong? Like,
yeah.
The first, maybe like the first couple of tiles you land on a battle, and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 enemy cards spawn. They're all Northerners, and they have that wizard with them that does a regen on everybody on the field, and there's like 15 of them. It's like, cool, right? This is going to turn out real well. But beating fights like that without taking any hits genuinely does feel really good.
Yeah.
It's
good. And I will say as well, like, the achievements in this game, some of them are nightmarish. I'm not going to lie.
I saw the one for finishing Hierophant with over 100 gold left over. It's like, no thanks. I know how to do it now, but no.
And it's very similar to like Hand of Fate, but it's one of those things where it's like, it's good because I'll just get a random pop up and it's just like, oh, cool, I did that thing. Like,
I kicked 20 people off the map. All right.
Or there was one where it's like, I think it's like complete 5 encounters in one game without taking damage.
Yes. Yep.
And I was like, oh, I did not realize I did that. I feel pretty great. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's
good.
It's cool little touches.
Yeah.
Like that. They're like, I'll take it.
Well, and I think I like the trophies achievements for Hand of Fate 2, because some of them are like, look, just get the gold token for this. It's hard enough. But some of them, like Hierophant, are like, you don't need to get the gold token, but you need to finish with more than 100 gold left over. It's like, all right, I can probably do that. It's easy enough to figure out who the assassin is now, and I don't have to bribe anybody at the end. I already have the gold token. And I feel like if you're listening and not playing the game, you're probably saying like, well, why do you care about the gold token? Like, why don't you just get the completion, get the silver token, and call it a day? Normally, when you get that gold token, it dumps like 4 to 6 cards, if not more, of super powerful stuff. Like, here's 3 new swords and 2 new shields and 2 platinum encounter cards, and here's a new shop. It's just like, gee, okay, great. Let's try a bunch of these other encounters. Let's redo our set.
There's like a reason why I'm using the basic B shield is
Mm-hmm.
because I need to block 30 pieces of damage with that to get the token. And
Right.
once I get that token, guaranteed, I'll get a 6 shield that will have
Yep.
another token on it that I will
Yep.
need to do to get the next shield. And it's
And the thing I like about Hand of Fate 2 is when you get that 6 shield by doing the token for the basic one, normally you can then put that shield in your starting equipment for your deck. So you can start with a better sword, a better shield, and let's say a food card. So you can start with a
mhm.
food, or you can start with an artifact. So you start with the healing potion. So now you can heal yourself 3 times. Like, it's the stuff that I love about roguelikes where I have put in the work and I have
I
done,
start better.
yeah, and like I've done these campaigns and I've mastered them to get the gold token. And yeah, it was hard, but man, did I get rewarded. Or like I killed 40 skeletons with this hammer. The hammer I got from that is super sick, and now I'm going to be way stronger. And
Mhm.
I like that about Hand of Fate 2 a lot. Like I feel like people that aren't playing it might just hear us coming in week after week and being like, oh, this game, oh god. But it's one of those this game sucks, see you tomorrow sort of things. You know, it's like
Yes, very much.
yeah.
Imagine, for example, being a fan of a certain sports team.
Yes.
Like, let's say, for example, the Cleveland Browns
Mhm.
or the San Jose Sharks or Liverpool Football Club until like 2 years ago.
Right.
And you know what it's like to have the glory and to play those games that are fantastically great.
Mhm.
But then sometimes you got to deal with a little punishment to get through to the glory that comes in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, man, this team really sucks. I hate them so much. I'll see you next week. You know, just like
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yep. Yeah. Very much like maybe some people's relationships with a certain MMO that starts with D and ends with Destiny too. Um but it's
I don't know what you're talking about.
Hand of Fate 2 is very much like that for me, where it sounds from the outside, it sounds like I'm beating my head against the wall and I'm not really having any fun. Binding of Isaac's challenges, very much the same thing, but like getting over that hump and mastering it and completing it for ones that aren't just like RNG, that feels really good. Like beating the Hierophant, I figured out how to figure out the assassin every time. I got the best cards to kind of tip the scales in my favor, and I managed to complete it, and that feels really great. Um,
Hmm.
and I can't understate how much fun that is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's uh, it's very much like Hand of Fate, where I think the scientists will decide on this game in a difficult way.
Hmm.
But it's very much one of those things where it's like well, number one, it's very unique in the way it plays. There isn't
Yes.
a lot that plays like this. There's not a lot that mixes card games and dice games and
Until Yoko
third
Taro's
person.
voice of the
Yeah.
dragon cards of voice. I don't remember what it's called.
Yes, but there's a lot in here, and
Hmm.
it's one of those things where like the slow progression is genuinely great. Like
Hmm.
it's a really good feeling because you know you are getting powerful, and then especially because you can build your decks. It's like playing a Yu-Gi-Oh game and starting with a deck full of blue eyes, white dragons. I don't know how Yu-Gi-Oh works, so I don't know if that would
Yeah.
actually work or not.
Let's assume it's good because it sounds like a cool card.
I Dude, everybody knows the blue eyes, white dragon. Come on.
Okay.
But yeah, it's one of those, and it's like it's cool to start stronger. Like all the best roguelikes do this. Like you start stronger, or you know the item pulls from specific pools that will help you get stronger and get
Right.
better. Like
Right.
that's where Isaac is great, is because it's randomly generated, but you know what to pick up
Hmm.
to make you play better,
Right.
which is different from person to person. Whereas in this, it's like, no, I'm going to start stronger
Hmm.
and then improve from there.
Yeah, these fights I'm going to get in, instead of the enemies taking 5 or 6 hits, I have a really great sword. They're going to go down in 2 hits now. I'm still going to fight these
Mhm.
fights because they're unavoidable, but they're going to be way easier now.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, screw how long it takes to kill those goblins with the basic equipment.
Oh my god. And also, I'm a little tired of fighting the not the goblins, but the other ones, the gnomes, the ones where you have to
Gnomes,
kick them.
dodging and
Yeah,
kick
dodge
them
and kick
away.
them. Little, a little tired of doing that. But I have to say, I Hand of Fate 2, just like Hand of Fate 1, is one of those games where it's like, if you think this looks cool, um, it's $20. You could spend months on it easily,
Hmm.
and they will be incredibly fun months. And I don't know if I could have a higher recommendation than this thing is really cool. You should give it a shot. It will, if you like roguelikes, you will probably enjoy it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely it's definitely great for people who like roguelikes, but also it is, I would argue, a really good intro to roguelikes. Specifically, Hand of Fate 1 is a great intro because
Yeah.
it doesn't have as many mechanics as this one does.
Hmm.
So it's a really good guideline to, oh, hey, this is how you get stronger. This is how you get better. This is how, this stuff works. It's really handy for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Any final thoughts here for our final week of Hand of Fate 2?
Screw these achievements. I'm going to go for them, but screw
I'm,
these
I'm
achievements.
sort of like putting a blind eye towards the trophies right now because some of them
You
are like,
literally have a platinum in Isaac.
yeah, and like some of them are like, yeah, I could, yeah, maybe I could do that. That won't be too bad. And some of them are like, I'm not. There's how would I even do that?
Yup.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. We'll see you next run. Bye.
Boy.